Hi, I'm Elise Curran. I play in the Orlando Big Band. I usually play clarinet and saxophone in there. I also occasionally play flute and piccolo in there. And I'm here today to introduce you to the highest members of the woodwind family, the flute and the piccolo. The flute family actually has some more instruments in it, including the alto flute, which is bigger than this one, and then there's a bass flute, which is even bigger. Those are not commonly seen in bands, so we're not going to talk about those today. The main instrument that you see is the flute. This is in the key of C, and you see it's got a lot of keys on it. This flute has an extra key on the bottom for an extra low note. Usually when you start on flute, your flute does not have that extra low note, and you don't need it. When you get a more professional flute, then it's good to get that. The flute is the only woodwind instrument that does not have a reed on it that vibrates when you blow. Instead, you blow across the top of it. It's like blowing on a Coke bottle. So I can take this head joint off and kind of show you that. So you can probably do that with a Coke bottle too. It's a little bit easier with a head joint because it's designed for that. And then when you put it on the flute and it's got all the keys, then you can control all the notes. So for that reason, the flute is a good instrument if you don't want to have to buy reeds all the time like the other woodwind instruments. This one doesn't need a reed, and it only has 3 pieces too, which makes it easier to put together. It is the highest woodwind instrument. It sits in the front of the band and it plays all the high parts. It's also known for playing really lyrical, beautiful, slow parts too. I'll give you an example of that right now. Here's a lyrical piece. So the flute can do high and it can do fairly low. It doesn't go as low as most of the other woodwind instruments because it specializes in the high end. So let me play you most of the range of the flute so you can hear. This is not my primary instrument. It's my 3rd best instrument, but I'll do my best. Starting from the lowest note, I have that extra low note. This is low B. Let's see if it'll come out. And it can go a little bit higher than that too. If you're a really good flutist, you can go up like about 4 more notes higher than that. So it's pretty high. So the flutes sit in the front so they don't get covered up by the louder brass instruments in the back. They typically, when it gets really loud, the flutes will be playing a lot of high notes because otherwise you won't hear them. But when you want lyrical, soft stuff, the flute is a really good instrument for that. Now, this is the piccolo. It's kind of the little brother or the little sister to the flute. It's also in the key of C. And it has all the same keys on it, except it's missing a couple of keys at the bottom. The piccolo, as you can see, is very small. So that means it's going to play very high. It is the highest instrument in the band. If you're going to play the piccolo, you would learn the flute first because this instrument is hard to start on because the airspeed has to be so fast when you blow across it. So it's good to be on the flute and be on the flute for at least a year or 2 so you can get control of your airstream, and then you can play this thing because you have to really pucker a lot to play the piccolo. I'm going to show you the range of instrument this instrument like I did with the flute so you can see the lowest note on the piccolo is only a D. And it's really not that low, is it? Are you deaf yet? I am. That's one of the things professional piccolo players will actually put an earplug on this side because it really will get to you. If you practice the piccolo, if you practice a lot of high notes, you can make yourself go deaf. It's really, you don't want to practice this too much. So I'm going to play a little song for you. Typically when you want bright, sparkly kind of pieces, like maybe, let's see if I remember how to play. Okay, so like stuff like that, or little bird sounds. Flutes and piccolos are really good for making bird sounds. So here's a little excerpt for you so you can hear some more of it. So as you can hear, it's bright, it's light, it's very small, light instrument. It very famously gets to stand up in the Stars and Stripes Forever and play that very famous piccolo solo. So if you like to sit in the front of the band and you like to play high notes, and you don't mind having a lot of keys on your instrument that you have to learn how to play, then the flute and the piccolo could be a really fun choice for you.